Welcome back to MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic. In today's video, we are going to add the next 20 creature cards into our Momir Vig Cube with converted mana costs of 2. What's up, MTG BC, baby? That is the MTG Burgeoning community. Here we are, ready to put another 20 creature cards into our Momir Vig Cube. If you missed the purpose of this cube and exactly what the Momir Vig format is, you can search in the description below and click on any of the links to bring you right up to speed. Additionally, you can see the contents up to the moment of this cube over at Cube Cobra, also in the description below. So let's get right down to the first of the 20 cards we're going to put into this Momir Vig Cube today. These are creature cards 21 through 40 with a CMC of 2. The first one is Cloud Seeder. It's a 1/1 flyer that we can pay a blue, tap it, discard a card, and create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token named Cloud Sprite. It has flying, and Cloud Sprite can only block creatures with flying. So summoning a copy of this creature to your battlefield will present you with a great deal of consideration because those lands in the hand are also integral to discard in order to summon a Momir Vig creature. Next up, we have Copper Mirror, a 1/1 mirror that turns sideways to add a green mana to your mana pool. This is a great way to help to activate some of the abilities of creatures that are requiring green mana. Additionally, it'll help you to summon one of the Momir Vig creatures to your side of the battlefield ahead of curve. Next, we have Consul's Lieutenant. It's a 2/1 with first strike with the Renowned mechanic. This one is Renowned 1. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't Renowned, we put a +1/+1 counter on it and it becomes Renowned. Whenever Consul's Lieutenant attacks, if it's Renowned, other attacking creatures we control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So a little bit of combat shenanigans could ensue when we send Consul's Lieutenant into combat. The 2/1 first strike definitely helps to keep it alive during the early portions of the game. Next up, we have Coral Helm Commander. A merfolk soldier with the level up mechanic. This level up is going to cost us 1 colorless mana to activate each time, and when we do, we put a level counter on this creature. We can only level up as a sorcery. So when we have 2 to 3 level counters on Coral Helm Commander, it's a 3/3 flyer. When we get to 4+, it becomes a 4/4 flyer and gives other merfolk creatures we control +1/+1. Just another consideration for the player that summons Coral Helm Commander. How do we use our mana during our turn? Do we summon another creature from the Momir Vig Cube, or do we level up Coral Helm Commander? Creature number 5, and continuing our stretch of double-colored creatures, 2 white for Consul's Lieutenant, 2 blue for Coral Helm Commander, 2 black for Cordial Vampire. Of course, it means nothing because we just pay X into our Momir Vig SIMIC Visionary Avatar, and we summon any one of these creatures as long as the converted mana cost is 2. Cordial Vampire is a 1/1 vampire. Whenever he or another creature dies, we put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire we control. The Momir Vig Cube is littered with vampires, so if you're lucky and the gods of magic are smiling down upon you and the stars align, perhaps you'll get a couple of other vampires in order to put +1/+1 counters on. Creature number 6, we're going back to our artifact creatures, and this one is going to be a wall. It has Defender. It's 0/4, but we can turn it sideways to give creatures we control haste. This may be one of the most valuable 2-drops in the entire cube. It can block for a while with its 4 toughness body, and plus we can turn it sideways if needed to send a threatening creature into combat the turn we summon it. All right, creature number 7. We are going to talk about our first red creature of the day, and that is Crimson Muckwader. It is a 2/1 lizard that gets +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp. And we can pay 2 and a black mana to regenerate Crimson Muckwader. MTG BC. Make sure you include swamps in that basic land deck. Card number 8, it is the Kumbaj Witches. 1/3. We turn these witches sideways to deal 1 damage to any target and 1 damage to any target of an opponent's choice. Summoning these witches to the Momir Vig battlefield could offer the potential for a lot of political chicanery. Next up, we have Daring Saboteur, a 2/1 human pirate. We can pay 2 and a blue, and it can't be blocked this turn. Whenever Daring Saboteur deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, you discard a card as well. So with 2 and a blue, Daring Saboteur gets unblockable till end of turn, and it's a great way in which to find the lands that are needed in order to activate some of the abilities of the creatures you may have summoned to the battlefield. All right, hitting the halfway points. Creature number 10 of this video is Dauntless River Marshal. It's a 2/1. It gets +1/+1 as long as you control an island. Paying 3 and a blue, you can tap down target creature. So this could really hunker down and make ineffective one of the troublesome or problematic creatures that you may encounter during a game of Momir Vig. And as an additional reminder, MTG BC, make sure you include islands in the basic land deck. Creature number 11, we have Departed Deckhand. It's a 2/2 that when it becomes a target of a spell, we sacrifice it. We don't have to worry about that because there are no spells in the Momir Vig Cube, only creatures. Departed Deckhand can't be blocked except by spirits. So if you are unlucky enough to not summon a spirit on your side, Departed Deckhand is going to swing in for unblockable damage. Pay 3 and a blue, and another target creature you control can't be blocked this turn except by spirits. Getting Departed Deckhand could cause a lot of problems for your opponents in the Momir Vig Cube. Next, we have Dragonkin Berserker, a 2/2 with first strike. It also reduces the boast abilities we activate by 1 for each dragon we control, I should say. And we can boast this creature by paying 4 and a red, and when we do, we create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. Of course, the boast mechanic can only be activated if this creature attacked, and only once each turn. Next, we have Dread Horde Butcher. And boy, oh boy, could this cause a lot of problems on the battlefield if it's not dealt with immediately. It's a 1/1 haster that whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it also can do the same thing for a planeswalker. But again, there are no planeswalkers in this Momir Vig Cube. When it deals damage to a player, we put a +1/+1 counter on it. When Dread Horde Butcher dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. If not sent to the graveyard early enough in the game, this could cause a real threat with continuous combat damage, and at some point in time when it does die, it's going to deal a good chunk of damage to any target. It could be right to the face of an opponent, or it can ping one of the problematic creatures on the battlefield. Next up, we have Dryad Greenseeker. It's a 1/3 that we can tap to look at the top card of our library. Surprise! If it's a land, we may reveal it and put it into our hand. Every card in our library is going to be a land in Momir Vig. So for the purposes of this cube, Dryad Greenseeker says, tap, draw a card. Next up, we have Dune Rider Outlaw. It's 1/1 with protection from green. And at the end of turn, if Dune Rider Outlaw dealt damage to an opponent this turn, we put a +1/+1 counter on it. Next, we have Eidolon of the Great Revel. It's 2/2. It's an enchantment creature. It's a spirit. Whenever a player casts a spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, Eidolon of the Great deals 2 damage to that player. So you and your opponents are going to have to think if it's worth casting a Momir Vig creature for 3 if you take 2 damage. All right, we're winding down here with our last 4 cards. The next one is Elvish Warmaster, a 2/2 elf warrior. Whenever one or more other elves enter the battlefield under our control, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. It really could only trigger once because in Momir Vig, we can only summon 1 creature per turn. And we can tap 5 and 2 green, and elves we control get +2/+2 and gain death touch until end of turn. Any creatures that have the ability to create other creatures is a momentously valuable ability to have in a Momir Vig Cube. You're only casting 1 creature spell per turn. Next up, we have Enraging Licit. It's a 1/1 all the way back to the days of Tempest. Pay a red, tap it. It loses the ability and becomes a creature enchantment that reads, enchanted creature has haste. We can move Enraging Licit onto target creature. We may pay a red to end this effect. Combat Chicanery 101. Creature number 19 of this video is Exemplar of Strength. It's 4/4. When it ETBs, we put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature we control. Whenever Exemplar of Strength attacks, we remove a -1/-1 counter from it. And if we do, we gain a life. This gives us options, particularly if we're really down on our life total, as we're only beginning the game with 24. And this is it, card number 20 of this video, and it is Fathom Fleet Captain, a 2/1 human pirate with menace. Whenever it attacks, if we control another non-token pirate, we may pay 2 mana, and if we do, we create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with menace. Again, similar to what we were talking about earlier with the spirits and with the merfolk, there are a slew of pirates in this deck. If you are fortunate enough to have Fathom Fleet Captain on your side of the battlefield, in addition to another non-token pirate, you will be able to activate this ability each time it attacks. And that is it, MTG BC. Let me know your thoughts of our Momir Vig Cube as it stands at this moment. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things magic.